You're listening to a production of the National Media Archive. To learn more or volunteer, go to nationalmediaarchive.com.
Let's rewind over a century. Imagine Detroit in the early 1900s, bustling with opportunity. Here's where Sebastian Sparing Kresge, a name you might not know but should, launched a chain of five and dime stores that were the Amazon Primes of their era. Kresge's model was simple: low prices, high volume, a precursor to what economists call economies of scale. Picture walking into a Kresge store, bustling aisles, penny candies, household goods, all in one spot, a retail aggregator before the internet existed. But what made Kresge's stores special? It was the concept of the self-service model, a technical term, meaning you picked out your own items instead of asking a clerk, a true innovation back then. Now you might be thinking, okay, but what does this have to do with Kmart? Well, by the 1950s, the Kresge company had over 600 stores across North America and was ripe for reinvention. So let me tell you, the seeds of Kmart were sown in these early days of hustle, penny pinching, and, most importantly, adapting to what shoppers really wanted. That's a lesson every business should remember. Have you ever wondered why giant stores with acres of parking lots suddenly appeared everywhere after World War II? Let's talk about the birth of the big box retail format. As families bought cars and suburbs boomed, urban planners and retailers saw an opening. The technical term here is suburbanization, the mass movement of people and commerce out of city centers. Kresge's leadership under Harry Cunningham saw this shift coming. Their answer, Kmart. In 1962, the first Kmart opened in Garden City, Michigan in 80, 0-square-foot behemoth with its own parking lot, not just another storefront in a row. Now, you might ask, why did this format catch on? 2 words: cost efficiency. Big square footage meant lower cost per product and, crucially, convenience for the new car-owning customer. Kmart adapted early, and by the late 60s, had over 120 locations. This was more than a trendy, was a retail revolution, and Kmart was leading the charge. Let's fast forward to the 1970s and 80s, a golden era when Kmart became a household name. But what fueled this meteoric rise? Kmart wasn't just about cheap goods, it became a retail ecosystem. They added everything from in-store dining to exclusive product lines, a concept called vertical integration, where a company controls multiple parts of its supply chain. Have you heard of the blue light special? That was Kmart's marketing genius rolling out a flashing blue light and announcing surprise discounts. It created what psychologists call scarcity effect, a sense of urgency that made shoppers buy more. And let's not forget their foray into private labels. Think Martha Stewart's kitchen line. That's called product differentiation, offering unique goods you couldn't get anywhere else. At its peak, Kmart had over 20 stores and was America's second largest retailer, just behind Sears. It felt unstoppable, did it? Now, what happens when you're king of the hill? Competitors want your crown. Enter Walmart and Target, 2 names that would change Kmart's fate forever. Walmart's strength? Ruthless supply chain efficiency. A technical term here is logistics optimization, meaning they squeezed every penny out of transport and inventory systems. Target, meanwhile, focused on brand image and cheap chic, offering stylish goods at discount prices, a strategy known as value proposition enhancement. Now you might think, did Kmart fight back? Absolutely, they tried store remodels, new logos, acquisitions like Sports Authority. But the reality? Their stores started to look tired, and customers noticed. This is where the cracks began to show. Shoppers wanted more than low prices, they wanted experience and novelty. Kmart was losing on both fronts. Here's where it gets tough. By the 1990s, Kmart was making headlines for the wrong reasons: mounting debt and declining sales. How does a giant stumble? Let's break it down. Kmart expanded too quickly, acquiring chains and opening new stores without keeping quality or customer experience in check. In business, this is called overextension, growing beyond your means. Then came the technical problem of liquidity crunch, not enough cash on hand to cover bills. Imagine owning 2 houses but not affording basic repairs. That's where Kmart found itself. Now, you might ask, why didn't they just fix the stores and stay ahead? Well, fixing thousands of locations isn't cheap, and as losses piled up, their stock was downgraded. Bankruptcy rumors swirled. In 2002, Kmart filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, protection becoming the largest retailer to ever do so at the time. That's the corporate equivalent of hitting the emergency brake. Bankruptcy isn't the end sometimes. It's a reset. Kmart's management swung the axe hard, closing 326 stores, cutting 35, 0 jobs, and shedding unprofitable assets. Drastic? Absolutely. This is what's called corporate restructuring, a process where a company reorganizes to survive. Think of it like pruning a tree to save it from disease. But there's a catch. Closing stores slashes costs, but also shrinks your presence. It's a double-edged swordless overhead, but also fewer ways to reach customers. Now, imagine local communities watching their Kmart disappear overnight. Where will I shop now? Many wondered. For some towns, Kmart was more than a store, it was a social hub. Despite the pain, Kmart emerged from bankruptcy slimmer and hopeful. But the storm wasn't over not by a long shot. If you can't beat 'em, join Eat More Buy 'em. In 2004, Kmart made headlines by acquiring Sears, once their fiercest rival, in an $11 billion deal. Was this a masterstroke or a miscalculation? The merger formed Sears Holdings, a technical term for a parent company owning multiple brands. The idea was to leverage synergies or combine strengths to compete against Walmart and Target. On paper, this sounded smart. Shared distribution networks, cross-promotions, and cost savings. But in practice, the cultures clashed, and both chains were already struggling. Now, you might ask, did it work? Not really. Store closures continued, and neither brand regained its former glory. It was like two wounded athletes trying to run a marathon together. Let me tell you, a merger can't fix a broken business model. It just delays the inevitable unless you address the root problems. Let's be honest, when was the last time you walked into a Kmart and felt excited? That's the heart of the matter. Store experience, or as experts call it, retail environment design. Kmart stores became drab, disorganized, and uninspiring. Shelves were often empty, products randomly placed, phenomenon known as inventory mismanagement. Now, you might be thinking, isn't that just a minor issue? But here's the thing. Shoppers judge a brand by what they see and feel. If the store looks neglected, customers assume the company doesn't care. Meanwhile, Target offered trendy decor and Walmart boasted unbeatable prices. Kmart, by comparison, felt like stepping back in time and not in a good way. This erosion of in-store experience drove customers away, accelerating the decline. In retail, perception is reality. While competitors raced to build slick online stores, Kmart lagged behind. E-commerce, or online retail, was exploding, but Kmart's digital presence felt stuck in the dial-up era. Their website was a confusing mix of professional listings and oddly priced third-party goods, an example of marketplace integration gone wrong. Imagine shopping for slippers and seeing a $315 price tag due to a technical glitch. That's not just bad luck, it's a sign of user experience failure. Now, some of you may wonder, why does online retail matter if they have stores? The answer, omnichannel strategy. Today's shoppers expect a seamless connection between physical and digital. Kmart missed that boat. In a world where Amazon and Walmart dominate online, Kmart's digital missteps made them nearly invisible to a new generation of shoppers. So what does a dying retail giant look like? Picture hundreds of abandoned Kmarts dotting the American landscape, monolithic reminders of past prosperity. Many of these vacant stores stand as retail ruins, a term urban explorers use for decaying, unused commercial spaces. Now, you might ask, why not just fill these spaces with new businesses? It's not so simple. These buildings are often too big, and their location isn't suited for modern retail needs, a concept called structural obsolescence. Let me tell you a story. I visited one such Kmart, closed for decades, now a canvas for graffiti and mold. It's a retail time capsule and a warning to other chains. These abandoned stores are more than eyesores. They're symbols of how fast the mighty can fall and how hard it is to bounce back. As we wrap up, let's ask, what can we learn from Kmart's rise and fall? First, even the most iconic brands can crumble if they don't adapt. That's the law of creative destruction, where new innovations replace the old. Two technical terms I want to leave you with. Brand equity, the value built up over decades, and operational agility, the ability to pivot when markets change. Kmart once had both. But over time, neglect, overexpansion, and failure to innovate eroded their strengths. competitors outpaced them, and customers moved on. Now you might be thinking, could Kmart have survived if they did things differently? Maybe, but their story is a powerful reminder. Retail is ruthless, and nostalgia alone won't pay the bills. So next time you pass an abandoned big box store, remember Kmart. It's a case study in business evolution, one we can all learn from, whether you're a shopper, entrepreneur, or just love a good story.